Alright, and now let's go over taxiing in the DA40. Now taxiing in the DA40 is surprisingly difficult. Those of you who fly in real life, you'll get what I mean. What we have here is what we call a free castering nose wheel. And that's not your traditional Cessna Piper nose wheel where if you move your rudder pedals, the nose gear will turn with it. Now this is like shopping cart wheels. So what we use to steer is primarily rudder pedals. However, if it doesn't turn enough, we're going to use brake pressure turn the airplane. Now the Cal's DA40's default mode is that free castering mode. If you don't have a rudder pedals like I do, well, I don't have rudder pedals, then you can hit the gear toggle switch. That'll change between the steering modes where you can just steer using your rudders. But I'll be showing you both techniques on how we steer using the brakes and how we steer using the rudders, the DA40. So I'm going to make sure my steering mode is off. So if you look at the PFD and you hit the /, that's the key in FS24, there should be an enunciation on the PFD. So there it is, that's nose wheel steering, that's off. I want to use the off position first. Now, a key thing to keep in mind is that it takes a lot of power to get the airplane moving. So you'll find that DA40 takes a little power because you're using the brakes to steer the airplane. So I'm going to advance the power. I think my power setting is a little off here. What's that? There we go. Okay, keep it at 1000 RPM. I'm going to release the brakes, and there's the taxi light ahead of me. I'm going to start my rudder movement towards it. So full right rudder, release the brakes, increase that power, and then using my brakes to steer in that direction. You can see that the airplane slowly wants to come to a stop. When you're aligning yourself with the taxiway in real world, you want to use a little bit of counteracting rudder, like that, to get yourself centered. Otherwise, it'll oscillate back and forth on the taxiway. So left rudder, then left brakes, then right rudder to correct for your center line. Now we're going to use nose wheel steering. So I'm going to unclick the gear button, and now I can use my rudders to steer the gear. So even though this is unrealistic for those of you that wants the ease of use, we have a mode designed for you. Flavors for everybody. Alright, so one of the unique parts about the DA40 is that it doesn't have a steerable nose gear. What that means is that on the Cessnas and the Pipers, when you turn your rudders, the nose gear doesn't necessarily turn with that rudder pedal movement. So what we do, and what this gear is called, it's called a free castering nose wheel. And I like to just call it the shopping cart wheels. And there's a technique to this. So I'm going to put my feet on the rudder pedals, and to get it to turn in that direction, say right. I'm going to push the right rudder first, and then if it doesn't turn enough to my liking, I'll put in just a little bit of pressure to get the airplane to turn in that direction. And then as you align yourself with the taxiway, you want to do just a little bit of counteracting motion. So a little bit of left rudder, then a little bit of left brake pressure to align yourself on the center line. Otherwise, it's just going to shoot back and forth and oscillate on the taxiway.